my name is Megan Edwards of Focus Communications, and today we are joined once again by FireFox Gold's chairman, Patrick Highsmith. FireFox Gold is a Finland gold explorer that trades on the Toronto Venture Stock Exchange under the symbol FFOX. Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Megan.
The company recently announced the first results from your trenching program at Mustajärvi East, which included some Bonanza grade gold numbers. Could you walk us through the results from this program?
Sure can. It's been a lot of news over the last couple of weeks. I think people are probably fairly familiar if they're clicking to watch these videos about FireFox, but all we do is explore for gold in northern Finland. And we've been drilling on 4 different properties over the last couple of years. And we've been focusing here at Mustajärvi, where we've been reporting high-grade gold since 2018. And for the first time, we've now opened up the Mustajärvi East discovery with some test trenches, Megan. It was a limited program. We need to get out there with an excavator and see what the ground conditions are. We noticed that mineralization comes very close to surface from our drilling. So what we did is we did 2 test trenches in areas with no trees over the top of them that we could easily access. Very limited environmental impact for that reason. Didn't have to take out any trees. These have already been refilled and reclaimed, Megan, as a matter of fact, goes very quickly because the mineralization comes within 3 to 6 meters of surface. And so what you see here on the left is the excavator cutting in these trenches. And on the right, some of the team, we survey them with ultra high precision GPS. And we use a drone in the trenches themselves to record detailed textures and photos as well. So we mark a lot of the geographic features, some of the green paint you see there. And then what we've done is we've mapped in these trenches. We've taken a ton of measurements of veins and cleavage and different foliations in the rock. We then use a diamond saw to cut the rock. So we get a very high quality sample for assay. And we've also taken some samples here for extra processing, Megan, where we're going to look at heavy minerals in there because the team did note visible gold, coarse gold when they were collecting these samples. So it's just really one trench in the heart of mineralization. And then when they saw how altered the rock was, Megan, it was kind of all crumbly and kind of turned to clay. They really couldn't get a lot of measurements for some of the key geology things we were looking at. So we cut a second trench north of the main mineralized zone to get more measurements of rock types and stuff like that. So now these are the actual results we reported. You can see on the inset here, this is actually basically an air photo from the drone on the left where we recorded the detailed assays. And on the inset on the right there, you can see here's the highway down here, and here are the trenches just north of the highway there in this clearing. You'll know that there's no trees around that area. So it was an easy place to work, which is one reason we chose it. Now, this happens to be in an area where we've had several drill holes nearby, which have hit good results. So we kind of get to confirm that those drill holes are in the right place, that our surveying's been working properly and everything as well. And as you can see from these numbers, we hit it. The conditions here were good. We were able to excavate to the bedrock surface, cut in the channel sample, as I said. And we also took an extra measure of caution. With the coarse gold here, Megan, all these results are from screen fire assay, which you may remember me talking about in the past is the best way to assay a full kilogram of rock at a time for gold, both fine grain gold and coarse grain gold. And the highlights of this trench are shown there. It ended up being almost 7 meters that averaged 59 grams per ton. And we're talking about this area right through here. The trench ended in highly mineralized material there. And you can see if you look closely at those numbers, 45.2 grams, 29 grams, 52 grams, 4 grams, 3 grams, 256 grams, 10 grams, and it ended in 27.4 grams. So those are all really spectacular intercepts there. You can see consistently mineralized over that width. And this is in the metasedimentary rock, or the tuffites that we often refer to them as. So really an excellent result, and consistently mineralized material showing up over a nice thickness. Again, look at the orientation of the trench. We're kind of in the heart of the zone, and the Mustajärvi sort of fault zone kind of runs in this direction. So we cut the trenches pretty much perpendicular to that. And so you can imagine the mineralized zone projecting through, ending somewhere over here, maybe this very high grade material. So a great result comes to surface, and we're super excited about it.
Now, from an investor standpoint, what's the significance of this trenching program, and how can this data be used in future exploration?
Trenches are a key part of exploration when mineralization is shallow, and our exploration permits here in Finland allow us to conduct trenches as long as we reclaim them and work with our surface landowners to make sure livestock aren't damaged and that sort of thing. So trenches are a great tool. One reason for that, Megan, is we get a full exposure of the rock. So we really see all the fabric, all the textures. We take a large sample using a diamond saw in this case. These are several kilos, these samples. And so that means you have a high sample quality, just like a core hole. So in actual fact, trench data can be incorporated into resource calculations. It has the same quality control. It has a rigorous sample size. And we've, of course, implemented the same quality control we apply to all our work. And so they can be used to calculate, to go into a resource calculation. Basically, think of them as a horizontal drill hole, Megan. But also, as I said, the geologists need to really see the fabric in these rocks. And that's the other thing we got, is a lot of careful measurements on veins and foliation and really understanding the shape of this thing. And in these trenches, that, of course, will be valuable. And this is really just a test. We can do a lot more of that kind of work later. So the other thing is trenches can also be used to take larger samples for metallurgical work. Now here, as we noted in the news release, these samples were heavily oxidized. This could be referred to as a gossan, where there was pyrite before. It oxidized partially, not always completely, and that forms a gossan. And oxidized samples like this can be a little bit enriched compared to fresh rock. We call that supergene enrichment. And there'll need to be more work to determine if the gold grades here are higher than we see in the unoxidized rock. But as you know, we've reported plenty of high-grade assays from Mustajärvi, so we know the high grade continues to depth in this system. So they serve a lot of purposes. And really what's exciting to us is, for the geologists, this is the first time anyone's ever walked into the Mustajärvi gold deposit. And they were able to do that and collect these samples for us, and they had a heck of a lot of gold in them.
Now, give our listeners an overview of next steps here at Mustajärvi and an idea of what these recent expansions could be leading to in terms of size and scale.
Yeah, two questions there. First, this week's news release is the last of our data from the spring program, so it's very important to get that out so we can talk about that. And of course, the drill's showing up in August. So the drill will be back, guided by the results we've announced over the last 2 weeks, and probably leading to some systematic drilling along sort of regular fences, Megan, now that we know this system extends a few hundred meters away from its initial footprint. So drilling is up next at Mustajärvi. That's the first thing. And as far as the possible extents of the system, with these sorts of grades and the thickness that we're seeing now, instead of just narrow high-grade veins, which can make for great gold mines, we like narrow high-grade veins, but we also like thicker replacement style bodies of mineralization, also with very respectable grades. So we have to reassess the potential of this system. And frankly, I've been in this business 33 years. And when we first acquired Mustajärvi, I looked at it as a 200,000 to 300,000 ounce, potentially high-grade deposit that might make a great discovery for FireFox. Now I would say that we've broken through in that potential. And we believe the East target alone has the potential to exceed 500,000 ounces of gold. There's a lot of work to do. There's certainly no resource. We've only drilled 14,000 meters spread along 2 kilometers of this thing, Megan. But I think the potential for growth is there, as we've confirmed grade and thickness over considerable distances. And there's been no drilling to speak of below 200 meters depth. So super exciting. And we believe the potential for Mustajärvi to really take off is there with what we've learned at the East target, particularly when we go back and apply it to the other 2 lodes that have seen good drill results, the Central target and the Northeast target, excuse me. So yeah, a lot of potential here, and I think these results confirm that.
And Patrick, to wrap things up, is there anything you'd like to leave with investors on FireFox?
Just remember Finland, first tier jurisdiction, now part of NATO, as a matter of fact, and easy to work there, great access even in the Arctic, and everywhere we look, there just seems like there's high-grade gold kicking around in Finland, and that's why we keep going and why we keep producing results like this. Stay tuned.
Okay. As always, it's a pleasure to have you on the show, Patrick, and we'll continue to watch FireFox Gold as we head into this next chapter of exploration for 2023.
Thanks very much, Megan.